All right, so good day everyone, and welcome to our next discussion to be presented by the group 3.4 with the title The Safe Food Handler. All right, so the group is headed by Miss Jeronimo together with her team, Miss Andoy, Miss Barbarona, and Mr. De Ocampo. All right, so for us to be able to fully understand what the determined as a safe food handler. So pag-uusapan natin dito kung paano ba yung gagawin nating mga procedures, kung ano ba dapat natin gawin para tayo ay maging uh, isang food handler. All right? So Miss Barbarona, sorry, Miss Jeronimo, you can uh, start your presentation. Thank you.
So here are the learning outcomes. First, we will identify personal behaviors that can contribute to food contamination. So malalaman po natin kung ano-ano nga ba ang mga nakakaapekto sa pagkakaroon ng food contamination. And next, we will identify proper hand washing procedures, frequency of hand washing, and use of gloves. So atin din pong malalaman kung paano nga ba ang tamang paghuhugas ng kamay at kung gaano kadalas dapat na maghugas ng kamay at kung paano ang tamang pagsuot ng gloves. And lastly, we will understand the relevance of hand washing during food preparation. So dito din po natin malalaman kung ano nga ba ang kaugnayan ng paghuhugas ng kamay sa paghahanda ng pagkain. So next po. So here are the words to remember. So ito yung mga salitang dapat nating dandaan through our discussion. First is carrier. So carrier is a person who harbors and discharges pathogens but does not exhibit the disease symptoms. So tulad nga po ng ating binasa, ang carrier daw po ay isang individual na nagdadala ng sakit ngunit ito ay hindi nagpapakita ng anumang sintomas. Like us, hindi natin alam na sa bawat hawakan ng ating kamay, mayroon na pala tayong nadadala na sakit na maaaring makahawa sa ibang tao. So ang
Alright,
tawag na sa atin,
clarification lang din ha. Hindi sakit yung dala nila, kundi pathogens or microorganism. Alright?
okay po.
So, yan. Sige. Please proceed.
Okay po, sir. So the next is personal hygiene. So it refers to overall maintenance and cleanliness of one's body and clothing, thus promoting overall health and well-being. So sinasabi po rito na ang personal hygiene ay tumutukoy sa personal na kalinisan ng isang tao. At ang pagkakaroon ng personal na kalinisan ay nakakabawas sa panganib na tayo ay ma-impeksyon at makakuha ng iba't ibang sakit. So next po. So first, we will be discussing food contamination through food handlers. But before going further, I just want to ask anyone from the guest po and answer my question. So here's my question po. So anyone po can answer po sa guest po. So, ito po yung question ko. So, sa iyong palagay, bakit kailangan natin malaman kung paano or bakit nagkakaroon ng food contamination? Anyone can answer po.
Can I answer po?
Sure po.
Tingin ko po, mahalaga po na malaman natin kung paano po or kung bakit po nagkakaroon ng food contamination for us to avoid it po. And para na din po makaiwas po tayo sa foodborne illnesses or dun po sa food contamination wait lang po. Para po makaiwas po tayo sa foodborne illnesses or yung food poisoning po due to food contamination po.
Yes po, tama po. Tama po yun, sir. So, pa-next po. So, food handlers can cause foodborne illnesses by transferring pathogenic microorganisms to the food that they touch. So, when we say food handlers, ito daw po yung mga taong naghahanda at humahawak ng mga pagkain. At ang mga food handlers daw ay isang dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon ng food contamination, lalong-lalo na po kung wala itong proper hygiene. So, pa-next po. So there are factors that affect microbial contamination by people, including the following. So first is body location. So the number and diversity of the normal microbial flora varies depending on body location. So the exposed area of the body, including face, neck, hands, and hair, among others, is more vulnerable to contamination from the environment. So, sinasabi po rito na ang body location ay isang malaki ring pong epekto sa pagkakaroon ng food contamination. Tulad nga po dito ng mga exposed area sa ating katawan, so dahil nga po ito ay exposed, mas madami po ditong nakadikit na mikrobyo na hindi natin nakikita. So halimbawa nga po ng mga exposed area sa ating katawan ay mukha, leeg, kamay at buhok. So ang simpleng paghawak po natin dito ay makakakuha na po tayo ng iba't ibang bakterya. Kaya we should avoid po talaga to touch this exposed area sa ating katawan, lalo na kung tayo ay hawak ng pagkain. At kung hindi man po ito maiwasan, we should always wash and sanitize our hands properly before touching the food. So the next factor is age. So the microbial population changes as a person matures. Adolescent population produces high amount of sebum or a lipid type, which promotes the acne formation. So, nakakaapekto din daw po ang edad ng isang tao sa pag-contaminate ng food. So, dahil din po kasi sa kasabay na pagtanda ng isang tao, ang mikrobyo or bacteria na nakukuha niya sa paligid niya, kumbaga, mas napoprone siya doon. Kumbaga, mas madali siyang makapitan ng mikrobyo or ng sakit. So, tulad natin din pong mga kabataan, we are on the age na pansin natin, prone tayo sa acne breakouts or oily skin. That's because of our sebum production. So, the more na mas prone tayo sa ganon, the more na mas madali tayong kapitan ng germs, especially sa mukha po natin. Pero based on my research naman daw po, our sebum production will start to decrease kapag tayo ay tumungtong na ng edad na 20 pataas. And hindi lang naman po sa atin, lalo na sa matatanda. Nag-i-start na po yan na mas madali silang kapitan ng sakit and their immune system started to weaken. That's why dapat kahit gaano ka pa kabata o gaano ka pa katanda, na akala mo mas alam mo na yung ginagawa mo, we should always be careful pa din po, lalo na kung isa tayo sa magsaserve at mismong maghahanda ng pagkain. So the next factor is hair. So the hair on the scalp enhances the growth of Staphylococcus aureus due to oil density and oil production. So ang buhok aureus po sir. Okay po sir. Staphylococcus aureus. So ang buhok and scalp ay isa din sa pinaka-expose sa parte ng ating katawan, especially our hair. So, di ba ang buhok natin nag-oily yan, lalo na kapag hindi tayo naliligo araw-araw, mapapansin po natin yan. But hindi natin alam na the more na nag-oily yung buhok natin, the more na mas dumadami yung bacteria or germs na dumidikit dyan. At the more na nag-oily yung buhok natin, mas na-enhance or dumadami yung bacteria na nasa scalp natin na tinatawag nating Staphylococcus aureus. Aureus po. So, this is food aureus po. Okay po. Staphylococcus aureus. So, this is food poisoning organism. So, once na ito daw po ay mapunta sa pagkain, dumadami daw po ito at hindi siya basta-basta namamatay sa init o kahit maisabay mo pa sa pagluluto. So once na si food handler daw po ay kumamot or humawak sa ulo niya at hindi maghugas ng kamay at mag-sanitize bago humawak po ng pagkain, matik na magkakaroon po ng food contamination. And hindi lang doon, once na ikaw daw nakakain ay makakita ng buhok sa pagkain mo, warning sign na din daw po yun sa'yo na wag mo nang kainin yung pagkain na yon dahil it shows na mayroon ang food handler ng poor hygiene standards. Kaya very important daw po na we should wash our hands and wear our PPE very well, especially when we are serving a food. And next po. Okay po. So the next factor is pH. So the approximate pH value of human skin is 5.5, which is more selective against transient microorganism than it is against the resident flora. So skin pH is also affected through lactic acid production from sweat glands, bacterial production of fatty acids, and carbon dioxide diffusion through the skin. So factors that change pH of skin, including soap, cream, and lotion that may alter the normal microbial flora. So when we say pH, it means potential of hydrogen. So it is a measure of how acidic, neutral, or alkaline ang isang bagay. So ang normal skin pH daw po ng isang tao is 5.5 because of the natural acidic substances in sweat, sebum, and horny cells. So tinatawag daw ang acidic nature surface sa ating balat ng acid mantle. So ang job daw po nito ay upang maitabo yung mga microorganisms and negative environmental influences na maaaring makaapekto sa ating balat. Pinoprotektahan din daw po nito ang ating balat from infection, irritation, allergies, at pagda-dry out ng balat. So ang ating pH level daw po ay magbabago once na tayo ay gumamit ng soap, cream, and lotion na may pH level na mas mataas or mas mababang level sa ating normal skin pH. So once na tumaas naman daw po ang ating normal skin pH, tinatawag itong alkaline, at kapag ito naman ay mas mababa sa normal or neutral level, tinatawag daw po itong acidic. So once na ang ating pH level po ay too alkaline, your skin is going to flaky and red. And once na ang pH level naman daw po ng skin natin ay acidic, malaking posibilidad na magkaroon daw po tayo ng inflammatory skin conditions tulad ng eczema and acne. So in simple words, once na ang pH level po natin ay tumaas or bumaba sa normal na level, makaka-experience daw po tayo ng mga inflammatory skin conditions like acne, eczema, flaky, and red skin, or etc. So napakataas daw po ng chance na makontaminate po natin ang food once na po ay isa tayo sa food handler. Ay magbibigay sa atin ng irritation and discomfort. So it is or humawak sa or may malaglag na mga small particles sa pagkain inihahanda mo once you have a flaky or dry skin. So it is important talaga na always wash our hands properly and sanitize before serving or handling a food. So next factor po is nutrients. So the role of respiration and sebum in microbial growth is not fully understood, though the former may contain inorganic ions and some acids, while the latter may contain oil-soluble materials, including triglycerides and cholesterol. So, ang pawis daw po at sebum ay malaking tulong din daw po sa ating balat. So, they are present in the layer of the skin and mostly near the hair follicle. So, once na ikaw daw ay pawisin, it is a sign daw po that you are healthy. At ngunit kapag hindi naman daw po, maari daw po mag-cause ito ng dehydration. And once you are oily, It's because of overproduction ng sebum and it can cause blackheads and pimples. Kaya naman kung si food handler ay sobrang pawisin, may possibility din daw po na tumulo or humalo ito sa food na sinuserve niya. O kaya naman may possibility din na habang naghahanda po siya ng pagkain, kung siya man po ay pawisin, magpupunas din daw po yan ng pawis. So, kung ginamit naman daw po niya ang kanyang kamay sa pampunas sa kanyang pawis at hindi siya maghugas ng kamay bago siya humawak muli ng pagkain, food contamination. So, hindi lang po doon, kung si food handler din daw po ay humawak sa kanyang oily skin, especially sa face, and wala ding proper hand washing, it can also lead to food contamination. So, pa-next po. So, the following are some examples on how a food handler can contaminate the food. First, of course, when si food handler are having foodborne illness like salmonellosis and shigellosis. And next, if si food handler are showing symptoms of an illness related to stomach or intestine like gastrointestinal illness. So, and third, when seafood handler are having infected wounds or cuts like infected lesions. So, when seafood handler ay may sugat, kung siya man po ay may sakit or wala, at ang dugo po nito ay sumama sa pagkain, magkakaroon pa din daw po ito ng food contamination. And when si food handler is living with or are exposed to a person who is sick or ill. So, of course, kung si food handler daw po is may laging nakakasalamuhan na may sakit, posibleng magkaroon at mahawaan na din daw po siya nito. And if he or she touch a food, matik na magkakaroon po ng food contamination. Lalo na po kung siya ay may ubo at sipon, at kung siya naman po ay mabahing or maubo in front of the food or utensils na ginagamit nila, matik po na magkakaroon po ng food contamination. And lastly po, when si food handler are touching anything that may contaminate their hands. So, syempre po kung ikaw po ay naghahanda ng pagkain or nagsiserve at nanigarilyo ka po, tapos humawak ka po sa kung saan-saan at humawak kang muli sa pagkain na iyong inihahanda without washing your hands, matik na magkakaroon din daw po ng food contamination. So that's all po. And the next reporter po will be discussing the good personal hygiene. Thank you po.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Geronimo. And you do a very, very good job on discussing these topics on how handle properly the food. Okay, so kaya if you will notice from the previous discussion na dinidiscuss natin or tinatakal natin, no, palagi nating sinasabi that washing our hands or good personal hygiene is very important because we as the food handler are the carrier, di ba? Tulad nga dun sa words to remember natin, we are the food handlers are the carrier mostly of the microorganism, no? Okay, so thank you so much, Miss Geronimo. You did well for your presentation. Thank you. Okay, next presenter tayo.
Good personal hygiene. So, ano nga po ba ang good personal hygiene? It refers to cleanliness of person's body and it involves keeping all parts of the external body clean and healthy. So, pinapakita po dito yung iba't ibang ways how you will protect yourself po from getting infectious from diseases such as COVID-19, colds, and flu. Maintaining good personal hygiene will also help prevent you from spreading diseases to other people. From the guest po, I have a question. Kahit sino po. Can you give me one or more example of personal hygiene?
Pwede po sumagot.
Sige po.
Mga example ko po is yung cleaning your body every day po and brushing your teeth at least twice a day po. Also, kapag hawak po tayo ng mga pets or other animals po, we need to wash our hands po after para kapag humawak po tayo ng foods, hindi po maapektuhan yung health natin.
Okay po, tama po yun. Pa-next po. The word hygiene is used to describe an application of sanitary principles for health preservation. Also, it refers to behaviors that can improve cleanliness and lead to good health, such as frequent hand washing, facial cleanliness, and bathing with soap and water. For example po, uuwi po tayo ng bahay and syempre po, sobrang tagal natin na nasa labas. What personal hygiene we will do? Or ano yung dapat po natin gawin before tayo makapasok ng bahay because of COVID-19. Syempre po, we need to sanitize or wash our hands. Then kung maaari, iwanan na lang po sa labas muna yung sapatos or slippers. And after that, pwede po tayong maligo agad para po sa safety purposes. So that will called health preservation of hygiene. Then the next one po is good personal hygiene practices or GPH should be at all times. So dito naman po, syempre, we need to observe personal hygiene properly kasi po in our everyday life, we think na kahit nasa bahay tayo or kahit po sa labas, basta lang natin pababayaan ang kalinisan natin as person. If ever hindi po natin na-maintain or na-enhance yung ganitong klaseng safety guidelines, possible po na magka-health problem tayo, hindi lang physical, kundi na rin po mental, emotional, social, and spiritual well-being of a person. Mas nakaka-apekto po iyon, so be observed and practice for one's health and well-being through cleanliness to reduce personal illness. And the next one is general personal cleanliness. Cleanliness should be maintained, including bathing or showering before work and keeping the hair clean. So dito naman po, this is how you will care for your body. This kind of surface as a cleaning perform more often to maintain cleanliness and hygiene. For example, you are in a work from home or kahit hindi po, you need to be comfortable with yourself and presentable, especially in hygiene. And mabuti po talaga naliligo tayo sa araw-araw bago pumasok or kahit hindi man umalis ng bahay para po maiwasan lahat ng baho o dumi sa ating katawan. And syempre, lalo na rin po sa ating mga buhok, we need to be clean and comfortable also. Don't forget to protect yourself in all cause of diseases. For your safety purposes na rin po. And the next one is proper work attire. Dirty clothes may harbor pathogens and may give customers a bad impressions. So if I'm not mistaken po, sir, the word pathogen is a bacterium or virus or other microorganism that can disease po. Tama po ba, sir? Okay po. In work po, we need to follow the policy, syempre, to present a clean professional appearance. When it comes to work attire, dahil ito lang po ang magsisilbing happiness ng isang customers or ni client, and makikitaan ka ng presentable na kasuotan if palagi kang susunod at iiwas sa bagay na hindi ka dapat madumihan para na rin sa ikabubuti ng kalusugan at kalinisan mo. So, as a worker, you need to be presentable and clean all the time. It will be expected to be well-groomed and wear clean. And that's the right way to be comfortable with. And the next one po, a strict dress code should be followed, including wearing a hair restraint and facial restraint if deemed necessary. So, dito po, when it comes to work po, we should follow strict dress code, which is the policy or guidelines. It shows how we need to follow or protect the dress code and hygiene pagdating na rin po sa kahalagahan ng kalusugan. Halimbawa na nga lang po sa factory ng foods, di ba? Or restaurant, even sa school po. So sa factory nga, should follow sa pagsuot ng hairnet or hair restraint and facial restraint kung kinakailangan po talaga sa trabaho para po maiwasan yung paghulog ng buhok if mag-aayos. But hindi po kasi natin maiiwasan lalo na po kung magluluto na. So you need to be careful and clean po talaga. Facial restraint naman po is parang siya sa bibig pero leather po siya na may plastic. Siguro yun po yung pang-protect for saliva, even na nasa food factory po. And the next one, wearing of clothing or uniform daily. This is the one important sa mga nagtatrabaho at kailangan bigyan pansin lalo na sa kasuotan at maging decent tignan at maayos. Hindi lang dapat sa pagsunod ng work attire kundi na rin dapat malinis at komportable ka sa suot mo. Removing of aprons when leaving food preparation areas. Dito naman po kapag may mga events po or even sa kitchen, kailangan natin tanggalin yung apron kapag nakahanda na yung mga foods and huwag na tayong pagala-gala kasi po yung apron, doon na nakalagay lahat ng mancha, dumi at kung ano pa. Lalo nung magpupunas tayo sa apron at kung ano-ano pa po ang nahahawakan natin, di ba? Then before and after sana mag-sanitize ng kamay or maghugas kung tayo po ay magluluto na ng pagkain. Then the next one, removing of jewelry and mahalagang wala po tayong suot na jewelry sa ating katawan, lalo na kung magluluto po tayo para sa pagkilos natin, hindi abala sa pag-aayos. At posible din po kasi na mapunta sa pagkain, but if ever tapos na for cooking, you can back naman po. So yon. The next one po is wearing of appropriate shoes. It's common for the employees na magsuot po ng maayos at assign na comfortable dapat na shoes. Hindi yung parang gagala ka lang sa itsura ng sapatos mo. You need to follow dress code. So, ulit po, I have a question from the guest. Why is it important to pay attention and follow such strict dress codes or even hygiene for employees? Anyone po?
Ako po.
Okay po, go.
Okay po. Kailangan din po kasi siya sa work. So, it's important po to pay attention sa strict dress codes po para mas maganda po yung takbo or mas malawak po yung pagtatrabaho sa field na yon, lalo na po kapag kalinisan or kalusugan po yung pinag-uusap. Kalinisan or kalusugan po ng workers yung pinag-uusapan.
Okay po, tama po yan. Thank you.
Okay. Any idea, Miss Makam, with regard to dun sa question ni Miss Barbara? Why is it important to wear proper attire or proper uniform when it comes to the workplace? Aside from maganda siyang tingnan and it's the procedure, what else? What factors ang kailangan nire-require bakit natin kailangan sundin yung mga proper attire na nire-require ng isang workplace? Anyone can answer. Hindi lang si Miss Mala. How about you, Mr.
Yeah, sir, hello po.
Yes, go ahead.
Para rin po sa professionalism, sir.
Okay, professionalism. What else? May gusto kong marinig na answer from other reporters. Why do you think wearing...
Sir, pwede ko po ba i-try?
Yes, sure.
Sir, kasi po, yung mga uniform po na ginagamit ng mga empleyado is may proper function po. Halimbawa po, sir, required sa mga uniform na na magkaroon ng gloves. So may
For
purpose po 'yun para
for
contaminate
what?
yung
Okay.
pagkain.
For not to
'Yan. Tapos
contaminate the food. Yes, that's correct. What else?
apo. Tapos halimbawa rin po dun sa mga nasa construction site yung mga uniforme po nila.
Mhm.
So consider po yung helmet na part ng ng uniform
Because of
para po syempre pagkakan ka ng debris, hindi ma-damage yung ulo.
para sa
Yun lang, sir.
kanilang
Para po sa head, protection po sa head.
protection for their safety. So ganun din tayo sa mga
Yes,
sa pag-handle ng food, no? Hindi lang para sa ating sarili. Okay, unahin natin yung mga customers natin or yung mga clients natin, no? We wear hair restraint tulad ng sinabi ni Miss Barbarona para hindi mag-fall off or para hindi mapunta kung saan-saan yung mga falling hair natin, no? Facial restraint or mask, no? Para kasi hindi natin maiiwasan na makipag-communicate within our workplace, no? And so, when we speak, tatalsik yung laway natin. So, kailangan may facial restraint yan, no? And sa damit naman din, ganun din, same thing. For the safety din, para nakatago yung kilikili natin, hindi tayo, pag pinawisan tayo, sa damit lang pupunta, no? At saka, everyday natin siyang pinapalitan para hindi mag-accumulate ng microorganism or ng bacteria. And sa shoes, no? Hindi basta tayo na, ang mga companies, nagpapatupad sila ng tamang sapatos, no? Para suotin. Hindi pwede na kunwari nasa kitchen ka tapos naka-high heels ka. Tama ba 'yon? Pwede ba 'yon? Pwede ba 'yon? Hindi, di ba? So kailangan yung proper shoes na nire-require ng company, no, or ng food establishment ang gamitin natin. Usually ginagamit natin yung may anti-slip, no, hindi yung madaling madudulas, especially sa mga kitchen staff, no, kasi mostly or most of the time medyo greasy yung yung floor. Yeah, rubber. Not rubber shoes hindi siya rubber shoes, pero it's yung closed shoes na nabibili or usually na nabibili natin sa mga shoe stores na pang kitchen talaga, no? So iyon ay nire-require, parang goma siya, pero hindi siya yung rubber shoes na pang sports, no? Okay ba yun? Okay? So, nire-require siya ng mga establishments para sa safety din natin. Okay? Alright? Sige, Miss Barbarona, please proceed. Thank you.
Okay po, sir. Pa-next slide po. Good hygiene practices or GHP policies. Food establishment should set guidelines in observing. First is eating and drinking policy. So, syempre po, may area naman na para dyan at may oras sa pagkain o pag-inom when it comes to work po. Smoking policy. Smoking shall be absolutely prohibited in or on the premises, buildings, and grounds of government agencies providing health, education, and or social welfare and development services such as hospitals, health centers, schools, and restaurants, among others. Chewing gum. It is appropriate to chew gum on the job as long as you do it quietly. It is not appropriate, however, to pop bubbles, make smacking sounds, or other unseemly noises that disturb others. That kind of gum is no different than that eating food with your mouth open. So the next one is tasting of food. Dito naman po, kapag may mga cooking contest po, for example, titikman po yun ng mga judges or ng chef po, syempre. The employee or cooker need to prioritize or maintain sa pagbigay ng kanilang malinis na serving, lalo na sa pagkain. Kailangan masarap and well-prepared when it comes to cooking performance. At syempre po, dapat kung magbibigay sila ng pagkain for judges or chef, they need to had many plates per judges para mas perfect and mas observe yung kalinisan when it comes to food preparing or tasting po. And next, reporting illness and injury. An employee who is at work when he becomes aware of an injury or illness must report it as soon as reasonably possible, but in no event later than leaving the workplace or 8 hours after becoming aware of the injury or illness, whichever is earlier. The report must be made to the employee's supervisor. And that's all for my report. Mr. De Ocampo will be the next reporter. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Barbarona.
Okay, thank you po. So, bago po tayo mag-start, ano po ba muna yung hand hygiene? Ang hand hygiene po ay isang paraan upang mabawasan ang potential pathogens o ang mga harmful microorganisms sa ating mga kamay. Ang hand hygiene din po ay kino-consider na primary measure para mabawasan yung pagtatransmit ng mga harmful microorganism. Depende po sa kung nasaang sector tayo ng buhay. Kung nasa ospital tayo, hindi pagtatransmit ng harmful microorganism sa mga pasyente. So dahil po nasa hospitality industry po tayo, magfo-focus po tayo sa transmission ng harmful microorganism sa pagkain na possible ma-consume ng customer natin or consumer. Which can cause foodborne illness. Sa topic po na to, matututunan po natin kung kailan ka ba dapat maghugas ng kamay at ano nga ba ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas ng kamay. Taking a shower every day is the single most effective means of preventing the spread of microorganisms which can cause foodborne poisoning. So ayun, pagligo daw po yung isa sa mga pinaka-epektibong paraan para mapigilan yung pagkalat ng mga microorganism which can cause foodborne poisoning. Dahil yung mga produkto po na ginagamit natin, kagaya ng mga sabon, contains a substance na nakadesign para pigilan po yung pagkalat ng mga microorganism. Employees can be significant source of harmful microorganisms. Proper hand washing can be the most effective action. Workers can take control, direct and indirect contamination of food, utensils, and equipment. So, mga empleyado daw po yung isa sa mga pinakapangunahing pinagmumulan ng mga microorganism dahil sila po yung may mga direct contact sa mga pagkain or mga kitchen utensil. So, ayun. Kung meron daw po tayong paraan para mabawasan yung risk ng foodborne poisoning, ito po yung pagiging disiplinado ng mga empleyado sa paghuhugas nila ng kamay regularly. At pagkakaroon po ng sapat na kung kailan ka ba dapat maghugas ng kamay can also become an edge to lessen the risk of foodborne poisoning. When to wash hands? Before starting to work with food and food contact surfaces. So ayun, bago ka raw po magtrabaho at bago magkaroon ng contact sa mga food surfaces, maghugas po tayo ng kamay. During food preparation, so ayun, kung magsa-switch daw po, habang nagpe-prepare ng food, ugaliin daw po yung paghuhugas hindi lamang ng kamay, pati na rin po ng mga kitchen utensils. Lalo na po kung limitado lang yung gamit natin. When switching between raw foods and ready-to-eat foods. So, pag magsiswitch daw po ng raw food tsaka ng ready-to-eat food to avoid cross-contamination. So, halimbawa na lang po is naglilinis ka ng isda tapos nagpe-prepare ka ng green salad ng hindi hinuhugasan yung kamay mo tapos same knife din yung gagamitin mo para sa salad. Fourth one, after handling dirty food contact surfaces. So, ayun. Kagaya po ng sinabi natin kanina, dirty. Andyan po yung pangit na siya tingnan, may amoy pa. Kagaya po ng halimbawa ko kanina, yung pagats po ng isda. Maghugas daw po ng kamay every time nahahawa ka ng dirty food surfaces. After coughing and sneezing. After din daw po mag-cough and sneeze, maghugas daw po ng kamay. Ito pong cough and sneeze is airborne illness. Magiging foodborne lang po siya pag yung microorganism natin na ni-release by cough or sneeze ay napunta po sa pagkain ng iba. Ang unconscious response po ng katawan natin, pag nararamdaman natin na nauubo tayo or mababahin, ay tatakpan po yung bibig natin or yung ilong natin ng ating mga kamay. Which is yung mga microorganism ay matatrap po sa kamay natin. At dahil hugas ng kamay, isa pong tip para malesen po yung pagkalat ng mga microorganism by coughing or sneezing is by using our elbow instead of hands. After smoking, pagtapos din daw po manigarilyo, ugaliin po ang paghuhugas ng kamay. Actually, hindi lang po yun. Necessary din po na magpalit tayo ng damit. Smokers, lalo na po kung lalapit sila sa mga bata or anybody na mahina po yung lungs o yung baga kasi possible po sila makalanghap ng second-hand smoke. Possible sila magkaroon ng lung infection or asthma. So, ayun, ugaliin po yung paghugas ng kamay tsaka pagpapalit ng damit after mag-smoke. After eating and drinking, wash your hands tsaka mag-toothbrush na din. Baka makita ng crush mo kasi na may malunggay ka sa ngipin.
Okay.
After touching bare human body parts, and after using the toilet. So, ayun, common knowledge na naman po yun na hindi na kailangang ipaliwanag. Okay, next. Correct way to wash hands. Before washing your hands, remove any jewelry. So, tanggalin daw po yung mga alahas natin bago po maghugas ng kamay. Next. Only wash your hands in sinks designated for hand washing. Do not wash your hands in utensil, food preparation, or service sinks. So, kung isa ka pong empleyado sa isang prestihiyosong kusina na may 4 na lababo, maghugas ka lamang ng kamay sa sink na nakadesign po para paghugasan lamang ng kamay. The third one, roll up sleeves and wet hands with warm water. Roll up your sleeve po if meron and basain po yung kamay natin ng warm water para po malesen yung germs natin sa kamay. Rub hands together for at least 20 seconds. Make sure to wash palms, back of hands, and in between fingers and forearms. Kuskusin daw po ng maigi yung kamay ng at least 20 seconds each. Siguraduhin po na nahugasan yung palad natin, yung pagitan po ng mga daliri, yung braso. So, di ba po sinabi kanina na roll up your sleeves? Mas okay po kung i-roll up po natin siya nang aabot po sa elbow natin.
Sa elbow or above the elbow?
Elbow, sir.
Back.
Pwede po, above the elbow.
Okay. So, next question. How can we count the 20 seconds? How should we count the 20 seconds?
Sir, every rub, sir?
No. Paano ka magbilang ng 20 seconds? What is the proper way of counting 20 seconds while washing your hands?
Sir, hindi ko po alam. Pasensya na po.
Anyone? Well, guess. Ano yan? Ba't ayaw nyo magsalita? Kausapin nyo kaya ako by singing happy birthday. Ay, kuday. Ay, sorry. Sabi na may mag-ano ito, singing happy birthday. Okay. Ayun yung well, if you sing happy birthday twice, no, it's more than enough to count 20 seconds, no? But we as the food handlers, okay, we have the right way on how to count. Okay. Also, for example, when we are draining in when I was in Jollibee, no, uh, there is such a way on how we count in seconds. So, sino ba, sa tingin nyo, sinong, anong paano? 1, 2, 3, ganun, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gano'n? Ganun ba? Tama? Miss Makang, any idea?
Sir, paulit po ng question.
How should we, or what is the proper way of counting 20 or seconds in seconds?
I don't have idea, sir, pero I think, di ba we have 10 hands, 10
10
fingers po.
hands. 10 fingers. Oh.
Sorry, 10 fingers.
Hmm.
I think we should rub each for 2 seconds.
Okay. Hindi.
Sorry, sir.
Ang
Common sense lang.
okay lang. Ang question ko lang is, paano ka magbibilang ng 20 seconds? Okay, may example na, mayroong nag-answer na by singing happy birthday. Di ba yun din naman yung sinasabi ng ng mga, para hindi ka mainip ng 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, diba? You just sing happy birthday twice. So it's more than 20 seconds, I think. No? But we as the food handler, no, there is a proper way on how to count in seconds. Miss Barbarona, any idea?
Wait lang, sir.
Miss Lavendia. Nakutulog na yata si Miss Lavendia.
Sir, wala din po akong idea kung paano.
Alright, sige, ganito. Tuturo ko sa inyo, ha? The proper way of, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na pag nagugas ka ng kamay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or kaya nakatingin ka sa mata ng nakatingin ka sa kamay ng orasan. Paano kung walang orasan? Diba? So, paano ka magbibilang? So, this is the proper way of counting 20 seconds. Alright? So, when you rub your hands together for at least 20 seconds, when you start rubbing, you count 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010. And then another one, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010. That's 20 seconds. Okay? Clear? Tandaan nyo yan, ha? Hello? Knock, knock.
Clear po, clear.
Okay. Sige. Okay, next tayo.
Use a fingernail brush if provided to clean under fingernails and between fingers. So, gumamit daw po tayo ng fingernail brush if provided para malinisan yung ilalim ng mga fingernails natin tsaka yung pagitan ng mga daliri.
Usually
Rinse
yan,
hands.
okay. Usually yan, yung fingernail brush na yan, it's actually available dun sa sink nung naka-dedicate for hand washing. Okay? If you or some of you worked in food establishments or especially I worked in Jollibee. So, meron naka-dedicate na finger nail brush na nandoon dun sa sink namin whenever we are washing our hands before entering the kitchen. No? And also, it should be that your fingernails is clean or cut off, no? Bagong gupit or hindi mahaba. No? Pwede naman medyo mahaba na, hindi mahaba, pero alam niyo yun, yung hindi sobrang haba, no? Basta there is wala silang sinusunod kung ilang inch kasi hindi naman na susukatin mo muna yan bago ka yung saktong haba lang ng kuko mo na hindi siya pwedeng pag-accumulated or it can't accumulate dirt dun sa fingernail mo. Okay, so kesyo maiksi yan o medyo mahaba ng konti, siguro mga sabihin natin na mga after cutting, siguro mga 4 to 5 days, medyo may makikita ka ng medyo humahaba na yung kuko mo. So, hanggang 5 days pwede pa yan. But beyond that, so, kumaga 1 week na, tapos papasok ka ulit, you should trim your fingernail. Alright? Sige, next.
Rinse hands, forearms in warm water. Keep fingertips pointed down while rinsing. So, pagtapos po nating sabunin or kuskusin, balawan po natin yung mga kamay at braso natin ng warm water. Panatilihin din daw po na naka-pointed daw yung daliri natin habang nire-rinse. Siguro po para madrag down yung mga dead microorganisms sa sink natin. Dry hands with single-use paper towel or cloth roller towel. Patuyuin daw po yung mga kamay natin using single-use paper towel, and lastly po, apply sanitizer. So, may question po ako sa mga guests natin.
Sige, mauna na yung question mo bago yung question ko.
Sige pa.
Okay, go ahead.
What about those people who don't have access to soap? What do you think is the best way to wash their...
Can I answer po?
Sige pa, sige pa.
You can use other cleansing agent, and it can remove hair from hands, even washing your hands with water alone. It will help to reduce diarrhea through using just water po. Or if you do not have soap and water, you can use sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Or if you do not have sanitizer and soap, just simply rub your hands together under the water and dry them with a clean towel.
Yes po, tama po yan.
Alright. My first question is, bakit kailangan below the elbow yung paghuhugas ng kamay? Di ba ang sabi, wash your hands properly lang. Ba't kasama yung arm? Mr. De Ocampo.
Sir, wala po akong idea. Sorry po.
Anyone? Miss Barbarona? Bakit kailangan kasama yung arm?
Sir, pwede po sumagot?
Sige, sure.
Sir, kasi po parang hindi lang naman po sa hands na pupunta yung bacteria sa katawan natin. Parang possible din naman po na mapunta po siya sa other part ng katawan natin. Pero syempre po, since yung arms po yung malapit sa hands, so kailangan din po natin linisan yung arm part po natin.
Okay, that is correct. Okay. So, hindi lang porque sinabi, wash your hands properly. Hands lang yung iwawash natin. No? Kasama yung arms. Especially when we are handling food. No? And second question, why should we apply sanitizer? Miss Geronimo? Tulog na yata si Miss Geronimo.
Sir,
Ayan. Go ahead.
sir, audible po yung, okay po yung, ano ko po, sir?
Yes.
Yung audio ko po.
Yes.
Sir, I think po kaya po kailangan din po natin gumamit ng sanitizer kasi po hindi naman po lahat ng germs sa kamay natin kapag po naghugas po tayo ng kamay, hindi naman po lahat ng dumi na lahat po ng wait lang po sir. Sir, hindi naman po lahat ng dumi matatanggal po, sir. Kaya po we need to use sanitizer pa din po after washing our hands po.
Okay. Actually, hindi dumi yung kailangan nating tanggalin, no? Anong kailangan nating tanggalin or eliminate?
Bacteria
Germs.
po.
Germs, bacteria, microbes, no? So, kailangan nating mag-apply ng sanitizer kasi parang paghuhugas lang din yan ng plato, ng mga utensils natin, mga cutleries natin, no? We have to wash them, we have to rinse them, and we also have to sanitize them. No? Para mas kasi ang cleaning, no? Cleaning is removing the dirt. Rinsing is removing the chemicals from the utensils or from the plate, no? Sanitizing is eliminating the microorganism. Kasi hindi porket na sinabon na natin siya, binanlawan na natin siya, is safe na siyang gamitin. No? Kailangan pa rin natin siyang i-sanitize. No? So, ganoon din sa ating mga kamay. No? Kaya, ang mga food establishments, every 15 minutes, nagsasanitize sila ng kamay. And, dun sa diniscuss ni Mr. De Ocampo na when to wash hands, kailangan ino-observe yun. No? Ino-observe yun, especially ng mga food handlers. Kami nung nagtatrabaho pa ako sa Jollibee. Ganun ka-strict ang mga food handlers sa ang Jollibee sa mga food handlers, no? Kailangan sinusunod yung kung kailan ka dapat naghuhugas ng kamay. When you are touching raw meats, when you're going to the bathroom, when you're sneezing, when after eating and drinking, no? And when you are touching your body parts, no? Kailangan sinusunod yun. Alright? Next, Miss sino lang ulit to?
De Ocampo po, De Ocampo.
Okay, sir. Sorry. Okay, next.
Proper hand care complements proper hand washing just to ensure that the transfer of microorganisms is prevented. Simple guidelines may be implemented as follows. So para po masigurado natin na prevented yung pag-transfer ng microorganism, maaari po nilang sundin yung mga guidelines po na to. The first one is keeping fingernails short and clean. So kagaya po ng sinabi ni Sir kanina, para po hindi pamahayan ng mga microorganism yung mga natin, fingernails. Second one, prohibiting the use of false fingernails and nail polish, and covering cuts and wounds with clean and sanitized bandage. Yun lang po. The next reporter po will be Miss Bea Tandoy. Thank you.
So, next, these are the proper use of an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Base po dito, ito, as an alternative to hand washing, alcohol-based hand sanitizers may be used when soap and water are not available. They are actually more effective than soap and water in killing the bacteria and viruses that cause disease. However, not all hand sanitizers are created equal. Some waterless hand sanitizers do not contain alcohol. Use only the alcohol-based products. The Center for Disease Control (CDC) recommends choosing products that contain at least 60% alcohol. Base po dito, yung hand washing with soap and water po is yung most na pinaka-effective po na makapag-prevent po ng spread of germs and viruses po, which are po na main causes of food poisoning. On clean hands, alcohol-based hand sanitizers are excellent killing bacteria and viruses. And sa naman po, sanitizers po, on the other hand po,
may not be used by food service staff instead of washing. Hand washing po comes first always po. Ang sa ano naman po, food workers' hands po are frequently wet and contaminated with fatty materials or high protein foods. The water, food, fatty materials, excrement, and blood on hands can impair the efficiency of an alcohol-based hand sanitizer substantially. Viruses po like norovirus daw po are also a problem po in the catering industry. Ang norovirus daw po ay ang pinakakaraniwan daw po sanhi ng sakit na dala daw po ng pagkain natin. At ang norovirus naman daw po ay hindi daw po siya pinapatay ng karamihan sa mga hand sanitizer. Kaya itong norovirus na nagdudulot po siya ng pagsusuka at pagtatae po na isa po siyang malubhang nakakahawa na virus. At ito na rin po yung maaaring makahawa din po at magkasakit ng kung sino man po. At yung makukuha po natin sa norovirus po ay and you can get a norovirus from na ang pagkakaroon daw po ng direktang pakikipag-ugnayan sa isang taong nahawaan or di kaya po consuming contaminated food or water. And putting your hand wash in your mouth after touching hazardous surfaces. And then, ang pinaka-epektibo naman pong pamamaraan daw po para maalis yung mga infeksyon na mayroon ang mga manggagawa sa pagkain sa kanilang mga kamay po ay ang paghuhugas po gamit ang sabon at tubig. At po natin muna linisin ang mga kamay natin gamit sabon at maaari din pong mabanlawan ng maigi at ganap na tuyo po ito at bago gumamit po ng hand sanitizer. Next slide po. Then to use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Apply about 1/2 only teaspoon of the product to the palm of your hand. And then rub your hands together, covering all surfaces of your hands until they are dry. And then wash your hands of your hands are dirty as sanitizers will not be effective. Tulad nga po ng kanina, before use a hand sanitizer po, ang effective po na pamamaraan para po mawalang infection or virus o kung anumang bakterya ang nasa mga kamay natin, kailangan pa rin po natin gumamit ng sabon at tubig para siguradong mawawala at matatanggal at para na rin po sa safety ng ating pagkain at sa ating kalusugan. And then next, use of gloves. Use of gloves. The wearing of gloves is not a substitute for proper hand washing. Ensure to wash hands properly before putting gloves on. Bacteria multiply inside gloves. Individuals with cut or lesion on the hand or wrist must also have the wound covered with a waterproof, impermeable bandage in addition to the glove. Wearing gloves po can help reduce the risk of food contamination, but if they are properly worn and changed when returning to work after a break or switching tasks, gloves must be changed at least 4 hours only. And then the wearing of gloves alone will not prevent germs from spreading. Workers may include food industry must also wash their hands always, and gloves should always be worn by employees who have cuts, sores, or rashes on hands and who wear orthopedic support devices on the hands that cannot be adequately cleaned, such as casts and braces, and who wear artificial nails or nail polish. The handling ready to eat naman po RTE foods such as salads and delis. Even dito naman po is even though a food worker appears and feels healthy, germs might be passed. And as a food worker daw po is the best thing you can do daw po to avoid spreading germs is always daw pong maghugas po ng kamay and avoid always po sa pag-touch ng mga particular items na with our bare hands. Even if you wash your hands well, you will not be able to remove all of these bacteria. And there may be enough germs on your hands to make you sick. And then aside naman daw po sa mga basic hand washing, food workers always avoid touching ready-to-eat meals with their bare hands to avoid spreading these illnesses. And then foods that are ready to eat do not require additional cooking or washing to eradicate germs. And to prepare and serve tacos, salads, sandwiches, and other dishes po is have not been cooked before serving. You can use equipment like scoops, tongs, or gloves. And this will be prevent germs from getting into your meals from your bare hands. And sa ready-to-eat foods na naka-include po is una po yung any food that will not be cooked after final preparation such as sushi and sandwiches. And the next po is washed produce that is eaten raw such as fruits and salads. And then the bakery or bread items such as toast and rolls. And then cooked foods such pizza and hamburgers. And then the garnishes like parsley, lemon wedges, or pickles or plates. And then the fruit or vegetables for mixed drinks and ice. And then when utensils are not suitable, mixing by hands and kneading, and non-infected hand abrasions like simple burns, cuts, and chopped skin. Dito naman po is yung hand and fingers injuries, yung pinaka-common sa commercial kitchens po natin and may occur while cutting, slicing, dicing, and boning meat during the food preparation process. Majority na injuries ay nagkakos daw po ng using na nagkakos daw po ng paggamit ng maling paggamit ng kutsilyo for the work or employing a dull blade. And these are the safety tips that are easiest of avoiding knife injuries. Always keep knives well maintained and sharp as dull blades will more easily slip off food and into your finger. And then always use the correct knife for the job. And cut away from your body when trimming or deboning. And knives should comfortable to use and easy to grip. And then do not leave the knives in washing water and return immediately to storage holders such as a bag or magnetic strip directly after use. And when carrying knives naman po is point the blade downwards. And then use last slice devices to prevent injury. And always avoid holding conversations while cutting and focus on your task. In the kitchen naman po is burn their dangers are an undeniable danger. And working with the hot oils, handling on pots, pans, and trays, and working on hot surfaces all create opportunities for catastrophic damage. And then direct contact with flames, electricity, and chemicals causes burns. Scalding po is caused by direct contact with hot liquids such as boiling water, steam, and cooking oils. Eyewear is heat-resistant gloves and aprons as well as protective clothes are the best protection against harm from oil spray. Next slide po. Use gloves by is use gloves by storing or dispensing in a manner to prevent contamination. Dito naman po is always clean and disinfect our hands or wear gloves on hands is a main way to protect hands and foods, especially in food making factory or food market. And the workers are needed to do both clean and disinfect hands, then wear gloves. And I suggest to use the disposable gloves to avoid cross-infection between foods. The contamination of food by food handlers' hands is a major source of foodborne illness. Outbreaks of sickness as a result many restaurant owners and health departments and have recommend or mandate that kitchen employees wear gloves when handling food. And gloves are not required in food service facilities at the moment, although a no bare hands policy for handling ready to eat items is suggested in sandwiches and salads. And to avoid bare hand contact with food, gloves and tools such as tongs can be used. However, if gloves are used inappropriately, a gloved hand has the same danger of contamination as a bare hand. Gloves can offer an effective barrier between the hands of uh, food handlers and the foods they handle if the type of glove is acceptable. And then hand washing is the one and the gloves are the replaced often. And the next naman po is prohibiting the use of damaged gloves. Gloves po must be always replaced frequently because they are really contaminated and they can only be used for one task and must be discarded if they become damaged or if the worker's work is interrupted. If the worker is doing the same for hours, the gloves must be replaced since germs can proliferate to deadly levels in that time, and the gloves must be changed whenever they become contaminated. This includes situations where a worker simply touches a portion of the exposed skin or performs a joke like taking out the trash. Always remember to remind them to wash their hands before putting on the new gloves. And when used properly, gloves are an excellent tool for protecting clients from foodborne illness. Gloves, like bare hands, are susceptible to contamination. Gloves should be always changed frequently, and hands should be washed before putting on a fresh air. The proper use of gloves is critical in protecting your consumers from becoming ill as a result of the food you provide. For in using proper and next po is using proper fit. For in using proper fit po must be a work attire that should be alike colored and exclusively for work and food handling. And they should be kept clean and tidy, and they should not be left on the street or in places where they could become polluted. And then next naman po is replacing hourly as deemed appropriate and avoid latex gloves due to possible skin allergic reaction. Or change gloves is needed. The money and staff need po na i-keep stressing the need to change gloves to minimize cross-contamination. And here the times when workers should change gloves. Before handling a different, these are Ito po yung mga ito po yung before handling a different type of food, and then after touching anything that could contaminate hands, and then after coughing or sneezing, when gloves are ripped or torn, and then at least every 4 hours. And here is a list of things that you should do when using the gloves. Always wear gloves for handling ready-to-eat foods, and always wash hands before putting on gloves, and always select the proper size of gloves, and then always select the appropriate type of glove, and always change gloves between tasks, and always change gloves if there is a rip or tear, and always wear gloves over bandages, finger cuts, or finger stalls, and always store gloves boxes we can't become easily contaminated. And then along with what you should do, there is a list of what you do not do. Do not do blow into gloves to make them easier to put on, and do not handle gloves except by the cuff. And then do not put gloves back into the box if extras come out. And then do not use gloves that have dropped onto the countertop or floor. And then do not place glove boxes so that they can easily fall. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much for that very nice presentation and discussion that we had. So, um, so that is all about the safe food handler. For how to be a safe food handler. Okay, so for the summary of the report of the group 3.4. Okay, so um, we discussed on how we wash our hands properly and when should we wash our hands whenever or before we handle our foods. Okay, and we also discussed the behavior that should food handler uh, have whenever we are or to avoid food contamination. Also, the frequency of hand washing that we have to remember, and how or when to use gloves when we are preparing food. All right. So with this, I will just discuss an activity. So aside from the activity that I will be giving, um, or not activity, quiz. Okay, that I will be giving to the students or to other students. Okay, I will be giving an activity for this lesson. Okay, activity that might be considered as your project in this in the whole of the risk management. Okay, so hindi ko na papahabain at thank you so much again for that very good presentation, Miss Geronimo. Thank you so much, and to the rest of the team, Mr. De Ocampo, Miss Barbarona, and Miss Tandoy. Thank you so much, and also to our guests for this report, Miss Makam and Miss Lavendia. Thank you so much, and message na lang ako, Miss Geronimo, ha? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay po, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Po.